was huge controversy, and that is where we have to start. It's the biggest talking point of the night, and how I am flabbergasted. I am shocked. I cannot believe a penalty was not given. Saka springs onto I'm not even sure. I haven't watched that part of the replay. I've been focusing on the foul. A ball that's going through. He rounds Manuel Neuer. Manuel Neuer continues to move forward. There is beyond clear contact. Saka is pushed off his left foot. He is trying to avoid the goalkeeper to get onto the ball for a tap-in. There's rumours going around that Manuel Neuer stopped. He doesn't. Even in super slow-mo, you still see him motoring forward. It is a cast iron penalty to a point where rivals are going to say Saka kicked him. I don't think he did. Saka's running at full speed. The goalkeeper comes out and spreads himself big, as you can see, and makes contact with the player. And Arsenal fans everywhere should feel hard done by, in my opinion, by that decision. How it was not given is absolutely beyond me. When you consider the amount of contact of Saliba on Sane earlier on in the game, also a stonewall penalty. We saw penalties. Think of the contact between Man United and Chelsea, for those penalties, and that one there. It was not even looked at. It was not even checked by VAR. Let that sink in for a moment. And I understand completely that rivals of Arsenal will be buzzing about this. Bayern Munich fans will say, absolutely not. I understand. I mean, some people are saying, and it is quite funny, Saka kicked him. Fair enough. That's what everyone can. Just like Gabriel headbutted Harry Kane's elbow. You know, it's the same difference for me. I am shocked. The referee, his first ever game of this magnitude, I thought he refereed the game impeccably well. And the commentators I was listening to over here on Discovery Plus, when Ali McCoy said what a great game he's had refereeing, his co-commentator said the last time you said that, later in the game, the referee made an absolute disgraceful decision. And lo and behold, it happened again. And I'm going to go into more stuff about Arsenal because there was some naivety tonight. There's some really poor defending at times. We spoke about this on Straight Facts earlier today. Would the occasion get to them? And I think it did at times. And there's lots of areas for Arsenal to improve in. But in knockout football, we have seen in the past with the famous outcry from Didier Drogba of this is a disgrace. We have seen Man United have a clear onside goal disallowed against Porto. Later in that game, Porto scored the famous Jose Mourinho knee slide. These decisions matter. And with VAR in place, there is no chance on hell that a clear, unadulterated, blatant penalty such as this should not be given. It is a crime to football, an absolute crime to football. It truly, truly is absolutely horrendous. And by the way, if it was the other way around, I would be saying the same thing without a shadow of a doubt because it was horrendous. The goalkeeper comes out. Firstly, the goalie. Just look at the goalie. He is still moving at this point. You can see him moving, yes? His leg comes through. His leg starts there and ends there. So the goalie isn't still. Secondly, Saka touches the ball and then jumps. He jumps to get away from the leg that's in his way. There's still a leg in Saka's path at this point. He's jumping to get over it. Watch Saka's leg. It goes up and it stays in one position. At no point does he move it towards the goalkeeper. It stays in a straight position. And if we go back to this angle, again, Saka touches the ball. Watch the goalkeeper. He keeps moving forward, keeps moving. Saka has jumped to get out the way, but look at it's knee height. And Saka can't get out the way. He can't get out the way at that point. Gets caught, watch. He doesn't do what people do when they dive. Watch when he gets caught. He gets caught. His left leg is still trying to step down because he's not trying to dive. His body hasn't gone at an angle. He gets hit. The ball's now behind him and he goes down. And why does his legs hit? Why do his legs hit like this? His legs hit as he lands on the ground because he was smashed into by the goalkeeper. He's still not trying to fall over. He doesn't dive. Watch. Bang. He trips over himself because the goalkeeper's touched him. Now, come on, people. I know there's a lot of bias out there. All right? I understand it. And maybe in real time it looked that way. He did not put his leg out stupidly wide on purpose. He doesn't even try to fall over. That Thomas Tuchel has said. I didn't see this during the game, and it also needs to be discussed. That there was a goal kick to Arsenal. Referee blew his whistle, and Gabriel didn't hear it and picked the ball up and then put it back down, and the game carried on. And the referee has gone into the dressing room of Thomas Tuchel and apologized and admitted they should have been given a penalty at that point because the goal kick, ironically, Gabriel's had a bozo moment here, didn't realize the game had kicked off and picked the ball up with his hand. So he's done it like an honest mistake. He hasn't tried to cheat or anything like that. But it now appears the referee on his first ever Champions League knockout game has essentially not given two, in my opinion, two stonewall penalties in this game. And it's an absolutely horrific night for referees, horrific night for VAR. And like I said earlier, I wasn't defending or asking for the penalty for Arsenal out of any type of defense for them. It's about doing what I believe to be right. And this is an absolute, I mean, I said earlier on he should be demoted. I think this referee should be fired from European football. You can't not give to how important these goals could be to Bayern Munich and Arsenal respect. And by the way, just because you missed one earlier doesn't give you the right to miss one later. This whole it evens out nonsense is why poor refereeing exists in the first place. So I wanted to call that out as well, because that is, you know, we are as fair and as unbiased as we can be on the terrace. And just seeing that replay now, watching it absolutely horrendous from the referee. Now on to Arsenal. It was an excellent start from them. Bayern come out and attacked. And then Arsenal just slowly started to take control. The passing and the movement from Odegaard into Saka, a bit of a poor touch, but he wins the ball back off Davis. The delightful pass inside from Ben White. The way Saka opened his body and buried it into the far corner. It's probably the most signature goal that Saka scores. It was a fantastic start from Arsenal. And 3 or 4 minutes went by and they looked like they were going to score again and again. And then I felt naivety came into the game for Arsenal. They were committing too many players forward and leaving themselves really susceptible to the Bayern Munich counter-attack. And that's where the first goal came from. And it's kind of a nothing ball over the top. Goalkeeper comes out, lessening the opportunities for Gabriel to pass back to him. Gabriel goes for a really sloppy and difficult to execute and sloppy pass to Kivior, which is overhit and inaccurate, which leads to a counter-attack. The passing from that point from Bayern Munich was very good. I'm not going to take that away from them. And Gnabry scores, the ex-Arsenal player, and they find themselves back in the game. And then a few minutes later, well, not a few minutes, 15 minutes later, sorry, it was an excellent run from Sane, who was a thorn in the side of Arsenal all night. Staggering that Thomas Tuchel took him off. Made zero sense why he was substituted. He cut through that Arsenal defence like a hot knife through butter. And Gabriel pulled out. Saliba just leaves his leg hanging. And he didn't really need to, because if you actually look behind him, I think it was Ben White, it may have been somebody else, was probably going to clear the ball because Sane had overrun it. And it was just a 15-minute period where I think Arsenal demonstrated their naivety at this level of the Champions League. The over-attacking in many ways, leaving themselves exposed, emptying the midfield and sometimes even the defence, trying to get that second goal, trying to go 2-1 up after conceding. And what they really needed to do was compose themselves and remain relaxed. And they got those elements tonight wrong, Arsenal. And I think it's something that Arteta is going to have to work on over the next 7 days. Not much prep time because there's Premier League football as well, but remain staying composed. And it's one of the reasons why I felt Arsenal could get to the quarters. I feel they can still win this tie, but their mental fortitude and maturity is such an important component when it comes to knockout football. And they had a few spells in this game where that wasn't quite right from Arsenal. And Bayern Munich, who maybe were written off a little bit too much by people in the build-up to this, they just capitalized when they had those opportunities to. Harry Kane, of course, scoring that penalty. But it was a really good fight back from Arsenal. They were calmer in the second half. Bayern Munich that went completely low block, doubling up on the wing backs, 2 solid banks of 4, no real space in between. And it took, and I saw some Arsenal fans the other day saying they don't ever want to see Gabriel Jesus in an Arsenal kit again. And I saw this one guy on Twitter say it, and lots of people agreeing with him. And I thought, that's weird. And he came on and twinkle toes and a brilliant bit of skill from him to set up Trossard for that equaliser. And we now have an absolutely amazing second leg tie to look forward to next week at the Allianz Arena. Can Arsenal go through? They're up against it now. They're up against it because they've got to go away to Bayern Munich and win. Even this season, and I think the one thing you could say about this Bayern Munich team is you've almost got to forget their Bundesliga form because they're not the same team. I'm not saying they're at their best. I've definitely seen better Bayern teams than what we saw tonight, without a shadow of a doubt. But they haven't defended that well in the Bundesliga for weeks and months. They really, really haven't. So it's going to be a really tough night next Wednesday for Arsenal. But can they do it? Yes. I don't think it's about ability. I don't think it's about the tactics per se. I think it's about the mental fortitude, staying relaxed, how they attack, and knowing when to do it. They haven't got to go gun-ho from the first whistle. They shouldn't be leaving themselves exposed early on. I think they should be trying to invite Bayern Munich on in the same way they did Man City and counter. I think those elements are going to be really, really key to them. So they're not out of it by any stretch. Such an important goal from Trossard.